So I'm going to get straight in, and I'm going to start off by explaining something which we talk about a lot in technology and is affecting us increasingly in marketing terms, and that is this very complicated graph which we call sometimes exponential growth. And rather than try and explain it to you, because I don't really understand that chart either, I'm going to give you an analogy of what exponential growth means. Because it's a very hard thing for us to understand with our sort of lizard-developed brains about what exponential means. But basically, exponential is quite a simple term. It means something happens at double the speed it used to happen. So in technology, we talk about exponential growth as some speed doubling every year. Now, that's very hard to understand. We can understand that, you know, over that wall is about 10 metres away, or we're about a mile away from the West End. That's easy enough for us to understand, but it's very hard to understand what that actually, the implications of that is. So this is a very good analogy. So what I want you to do is imagine that you're at the very back, at the very top, and the cheap seats up here in this huge football stadium containing about 100,000 people or so. And at half-time, a man in a white coat, probably works for Google, comes along and he gets one little pipette, one little tiny drop of water, and he puts it on the centre spot. Now that is a magic drop of water. It's going to grow exponentially, but rather than every year it's going to double, it's going to actually double every minute. So the question you have is, when are you going to be in danger? When at the top, at the back, are you going to drown from that water? Now, our lizard brains sort of say, well, it's going to be maybe a year or maybe months. Certainly, I've got enough time to see the end of the game. But the actual answer is 49 minutes. That's the power of exponential growth. But the interesting thing is that at 45 minutes, the stadium is still 93% empty. 93% empty. So you can just see it somewhere down here, still thinking you've got a lot of time. But in fact, the exponential factor is just about to kick in, and you've got no time at all, and you're about to drown in 4 minutes' time. So when we talk about technology, it's very often, we talk about exponential, and it's very difficult to understand that when you begin to see the water in the stadium, you've got only a few minutes, or in this case years, to actually react before your industry is completely changed. And we're seeing that happening a lot in mobile. You know, only a couple of years ago we were still saying, well, when's the year of mobile going to be? But now it's quite clear that it's already happened, it's now, and it's going quickly. So any of you out there who are still worrying about what your mobile strategy is going to be, trying to work it out, you haven't got much time. The water is in the stadium, you can see it, and you need to do something about it. So let's take a step back and see how that sort of applies to mobile. And the one thing characteristic about mobile is that it's a real category killer. It has wiped out other industries completely in the last 15 years. This, for those of you old enough to remember, is called a pager, which we used to use to keep in touch with the office. Obviously, we don't have pagers anymore because the mobile took it. Graphical calculators, people don't buy them anymore. This is a graphical calculator you can buy today. It's exactly the same as it was 15 years ago, and the reason why it hasn't changed is because nobody buys them anymore, nobody's investing in the industry because mobiles have wiped them out. Alarm clocks, pretty much dead. In fact, I'm amazed that when you ever stay in a hotel these days, that people, one of the questions you ask when you check in, when would you like your early morning alarm call to be? Well, actually, isn't that a redundant question? We've all got our mobiles today. Who has early morning alarm calls? It wiped out the PDA industry very convincingly. And there's far, far more digital cameras these days on our mobiles than there ever were and ever will be in terms of standalone cameras. Now, when you look at technology, there's kind of two types of people who look at it. And one of them is Convergys, who's this guy. He says, wow, wouldn't it be fantastic to have everything all on my mobile phone? That would be brilliant, and I'd love that, and I could have a great time, and I could just carry around one device. And that, to be honest, is the way history is going. The convergentionists will normally win. But the separatista will always say, oh, hang on a second, my MP3 player does a far better job than my standalone mobile does. Or my graphical calculator can do stuff which my mobile can't. Even if you accept that as an argument, history is against him because the convergence argument is going to win. And I heard it probably best demonstrated by this chap who's got nothing to do with technology at all. He's a chap called Jim Richardson, and he's been for the last 25 years or so a photographer for the National Geographic. And he has fantastic photographs, all-wing photographs like this, specialising a lot in the sort of Celtic theme. He's worth Googling and looking up some of his stuff. And I was speaking at a conference with a travel conference. I was obviously talking about mobile. He was talking about photography. And somebody in the Q&A said, excuse me, I'm really inspired by your talk, and I'd really like to understand more about it. And what camera should I start with? What camera is best for me to start? And he said, well, the answer is very simple to that. The best camera in the world is the one you have with you when you want to take a photograph. So for me, the killer is always going to be the mobile. And that's what he said, and he's a professional photographer. So if he's buying into the convergence argument, I think the rest of us should as well. So what else is on the horizon for mobile to kill? Well, video will all be done by mobile, pretty much. The handheld gaming industry should be looking to its past in terms of to stimulate the future, but in fact, it's all going to go mobile. Landlines are pretty much dead. MP3 players, standalone, are dying. In fact, one of the reasons I think Steve Jobs first of all came up with the whole concept of the iPhone in the beginning was because he could see this fantastic iPod he had, and it was going to be killed by the mobile as a category. So he was almost forced to go into the mobile industry in order to guarantee future growth, and obviously that worked really well. Handheld navigation, again, it's going. It's not innovating anymore, and a TomTom you bought 5 years ago is pretty much the same as one you buy today, because there's no money in it to innovate. It's all going to go mobile. What else is on the horizon? Well, first of all, mHealth. We'll be monitoring our health all the time in the future with mobile. We've already seen that translation as a standalone industry is probably going to be pretty much killed by translation from Google in the future, and that's only going to accelerate as the exponential growth kicks in. Keys and locks, pretty much going to die, and my own particular theory is that coupons and mobile payments are going to be the next big thing on the agenda, which is why, as Paul said, I could look at the industry and decide that that's where I wanted to focus. Perhaps more controversially, what will happen next in the mobile industry is that it'll do to the PC what the PC did to the mainframe. So that, again, that doesn't mean to say that there'll be no PCs or laptops out there, but the vast majority of us will use the mobile for most of the time in a post-PC environment. That, even 3 or 4 years ago, to be saying on stage would be to invite some form of controversy. But now people like Eric Schmidt are saying it, Steve Jobs was saying it before he died, Mark Zuckerberg was saying that Facebook is going to be entirely a mobile company within the next 2 years. You can see that this is going to happen. But if you remember this guy, he would say, but that's never going to happen because we don't have the tools. You know, I want to write a Word document, or I want to do a PowerPoint presentation, or I want to do a spreadsheet. I can't do that on my mobile, can we? Well, the answer is we can, but not very well today. And here's a couple of examples of a couple of tools which might help us. This one is on the market already, which is an iPad docking station, which allows you to basically put a keyboard and a mouse onto an iPad, and suddenly you've got everything which could happen. And this one is a bit more futuristic. This is predicted to be in the next 5 years or so, and it's what comes next after headset glasses. In other words, we'll put contact lenses in to walk around with, and as we walk around, we'll be able to see the real world if we're quaint and old-fashioned. If we're sort of slightly more hip, we'll be able to see the digital world, and if we're at the cutting edge of cool, we'll look at the world in terms of a blend of augmented reality and real world. So that's coming as well. So as soon as there's tools on board, the argument that actually the mobile that won't ever replace the PC will be truly finished. And just looking a bit further ahead into 2036, forget the exponential growth. If we just look at the last 25 years and apply mobile computing growth to the next 25 years and just take that and extrapolate it out, this here is the size of a mobile. As we know today. So it'll be roughly the size of a red blood cell, and it'll be a billion times more powerful. I can't really envisage a world when we're actually having mobile as part of us, but and it's a billion times more intelligent than it is today. But it's certainly going to be an interesting ride. So that's the big picture, as it were, and I'm going to talk a little bit in the next 10 minutes I've got left on about coupons, in a slightly more strategic way than saying, hey, this is a coupon, hopefully. One of the big problems you've had in the last 10 years, 15 years in terms of digital marketing is that if you actually sell your brand through a physical retailer, or you are a physical retailer, the opportunities to market have been not as obvious as one might hope for. So if you're Amazon, it's pretty obvious you can run an ad on Google, as an example, get people to click on it, take them to Amazon, they'll send you a book or a CD or whatever. That makes sense. But if you sell in the physical world, that's not such an easy thing to get your head around, because you can't send people into shops from a PC, and you can't really measure it. You can send them to a website like this, and I'm sure people have great times, consumers have great times playing around with Purcell and various other things, and interacting with brands. But it's not very direct in terms of being able to stimulate a purchase in stores, actually sending them there. And you also can't measure it. So you're stuck with things like when people go to a Purcell site, it increases their propensity to buy, we think. But there's no real measurement directly. And as a result, companies who are in that space, and I'll give you 4 examples, Tesco, Unilever, Nestle and P&G all spend 2% of their budgets currently on digital advertising. Now, the sector average across everywhere, it should be 15.4%. So there's missing 13% of these huge brands and huge advertisers from the marketplace. And the reason they say it, because they can't measure PC advertising and you can't stimulate a purchase. So you have to sympathise with that. Obviously, the connecting part of that is coupons, very much part of our marketing vocabulary in the physical world. We do 6 billion coupons every year in the UK, so pretty big market. I don't think I have to argue the case for coupons in principle. And we've wanted to do coupons in marketing for the last 12 years that I've been in mobile marketing. When we were starting in about 1999, 2000, we obviously wanted to do mobile coupons because that was a pretty obvious idea. So we were always promised them the next year or so. So there's a couple of examples of these promises. First of all, we've had barcode scanning for a long time. These machines actually require an upgrade of the hardware, the barcode reader. Normally costs about $100, which doesn't sound very much, but if you actually apply it to a retail estate and all the till points they have in a retail estate, you could be talking about an investment of $2 or $3, $4 million, quite significant. So understandably, our retail colleagues have been reluctant to move into that kind of space. Then we have the promise of NFC. Yeah, I believe in NFC, it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen now. Just a quick straw poll, who's got an NFC-enabled phone today in this? Actually, that's amazing, nobody. I have. I used to work for Google. There's one other gentleman there. Yeah, that sort of answers the young question. It's not scalable, it's not actually a solution for today. And so when I was looking for this next big thing, I wanted something which worked today, but also could work tomorrow. And hopefully what we've come up with is a way of doing that. This is an example of a customer flow from a Blockbuster / T-Mobile campaign we did a while ago. So T-Mobile promoted the offer to their customers about a promotion in Blockbuster. People said, hey, yeah, I want that. That sounds good. £5 for 5 products in Blockbuster sounds a good deal. So they opted into that. We sent them an SMS containing a PIN number, which you probably can't see very well here. They basically walk into a Blockbuster, any Blockbuster, and enter the PIN number into the chip and pin machine, which is already consumer-facing technology. People know how to use chip and pin machines. We use them 20, 30 times a day already. The chip and pin machine is obviously connected to the whole back-end EPOS system. So we know that the voucher is valid, it can't be a fraudulent one, and we've got all the data in the back end. So that seems to work. Chip and pin machines also, by the way, read NFC or NFC readers for when we do get NFC phones. So how would it work typically? Well, we all know that digital advertising works. So you would run your normal campaigns on Google AdMob, hopefully, but also on the other people here. You would perhaps advertise in traditional media, either using QR codes or other forms of direct response. And the consumer would opt in for that and say, yes, I want that. We'd send them a coupon. These people are our partners who make the boring machines which make it all happen. So the chances are retailers are already using one of these or some of the other partners we have on there to do it, so that therefore the actual integration with the back-end EPOS system is pretty much already done. And it works, and these are the people we're working with so far. Do consumers use it? Well, yes, they do. I mean, this is an example again from the T-Mobile one we did. They had over 400,000 redemptions. That means over 400,000 people actually walked into Blockbuster, used the chip and pin machine to claim their coupon and get the value that they were asking for. So this kind of solves the big problem we've had in mobile marketing for a number of years. It connects in the real world the shopping basket to the phone and back again. And what that gives, which we haven't really got much time to go into today, is access to fantastic data. The marketing of the future, or indeed the marketing of the present, is all about data and data mining and data analysis. And this technique allows you to collect lots of data and do lots of really exciting things with it. So in the last few minutes I've got, before Paul starts kicking me off the stage, I'm going to give you another example of exponential technology, because it is hard to get your head around, and I think it is an interesting area. This is an example of a race across America which I organised between two parties here, one of which is Dick Dastardly and Buckley, who's a cartoon character you may well remember and love. And the other one is Ray Kurzweil, who is one of the leading thinkers behind the exponential technology growth. He founded the Singularity University out in California, and he's very, I suppose he's the poster child of the singularity movement, which I won't talk about today, but basically is the time when machines take over from man, which is expecting to be about 2045. But he's going to go exponentially quickly, and Dick Dastardly is going to go at the legal speed limit across America at 60 miles an hour. So after 4 hours, you can see Dick Dastardly has made a good start. He's gone 240 miles, but Ray's pretty much stuck in New York. The first hour he went 1 mile, the second hour he went 2 miles, etc., etc. You can get the idea. So he hasn't gone very far at all. After 7 hours, Dick Dastardly is making good progress, but Ray is still pretty much stuck in New York. If you take the analogy of the stadium, we can't even see the water at the bottom through the grass at the moment. But it all starts to change. After 8 hours, Ray's just about caught up. After 9 hours, Ray's halfway across America. And after 10 hours, Ray's going to finish in the next few minutes. But the interesting that happens is that after 15 and a half hours, Dick Dastardly and Buckley are basically just about hitting Chicago. And Ray is back in New York. Why would he be back in New York? Well, by that time, he's already been around the world. That's how fast he's going at that point. So that's exponential growth of technology. What I hope you take from that is that mobile is the future. It's going to happen very, very quickly. And if you haven't got your strategy sorted out today, the water's going to drown you very, very quickly. Thank you very much.